Alright, so I don't have as much time to submit this as I thought, so I'm just going to run through this as quick as I possibly can and show you that it works according to your tests on my Linux server. So here's my signature. I worked with Avery and we received help from Cody. And then below that is our inputs, imports, sys, socket, and threading. And then below are some arrays. There's the baby child's names and the baby child sockets. I call these baby childs because these connections are like my children that I will eventually have to kill. So later those are going to be populated by handle connections. And then under the arrays, there's just the message formatting stuff for Python. So we're just going to have these two empty curly braces separated by a colon and a space. And that's how we're going to organize name and message. And then down in handle connections, this is where we get the name and append it to the baby child's name array. We also append the socket to its respective array, and then we get the message. While messages are still coming in, we're going to format the message and distribute it to every client. We do that with this inner for loop that is inside of the while. And then we're going to keep receiving messages here on line 36. And then we're going to try and shut down the socket if we can't handle the error. This is actually, this is interesting. I wasn't really sure what to do if this came up. Thanks to Cody for helping me out with that. I wasn't even sure how to handle any errors that came up within the system or within within any socket connection errors, because we didn't really have much error handling practice in class. And then below that, we're going to close the socket and remove all corresponding information from the baby child's arrays with C closed, closing the socket, and then we're going to remove the name from baby child's, and we're going to remove the socket from the baby child's sockets list. Down here, if name is equal to main, we're going to get the port number if there isn't a port number, or so we're going to get the port number from sys.argv1, and then in this except, if there isn't a port number, or if whatever in the port number is trash, whatever's in that place in the sys.argv array, we're going to quit the program. I would not have handled it this way. This is because of Cody. I would have taken in the string, stripped it, and then searched for substrings, and if those substrings didn't match, like if they weren't a number, then I would have tried to have another loop that asked for another port number or something. But the way I had designed that originally, it didn't work out, so I'm using this implementation instead. And then below, pretty much the same thing that we always do in class. We're going to create the socket, set the options, bind that connection to any available interface, and listen for connections. Right here it says C listen 10. 10 is just a general number. Python can support way more than 10 connections at once. For one project that I did in my capstone class, we had to support up to 100. So this can handle a lot of traffic, and it's very scalable, so I trust it. And then below, if we find a connection, we're going to set up a thread to talk. So we're going to accept the connection on line 63, and we're going to set up the thread on line 64. And then we're going to start the thread in line 66. I'm not really sure what line 65 does. I don't have full knowledge of what this does, so I can't describe it in depth. but I know that it makes sure that we're not just accepting any connection. And then below, whenever the keyword is interrupted, so whenever we decide to shut the program down with Control-C, which is how it's set up on my laptop, we're going to shut down the socket and close the connection and then exit the program. So that's what's on the server side. On the client side, it's very similar to the Messenger code that we had last time. So really, most of this code was just us separating the server and client parts of Messenger into two files and then editing them. So over here in client, we're going to have all of the imports. We're going to have this function called receive messages, and it's going to get the message and check to see if the socket's still up, and then it's going to print the message, and it'll continue to receive messages down here in line 21. And then after that, we're going to handle any errors. So if any OS errors occur, we're going to pass, and then we're going to exit the system. We're going to end the program. And down here in the if name equals main, we're going to try to connect on the port that is available in sys.argv1. If there is an index error, we're going to shut down the program. And then we're going to connect to localhost, and we're going to set up the thread that occurs. And then we're going to set up the thread, and that's what occurs within these three blocks, which is pretty much the same thing that we did in class as always. That was pretty much a direct copy-paste from older assignments. And the first message will always be the name, and the name is sent, and then the receiver thread can start doing its job in receiving messages down here, starting in line 41. Over here, ooh, that's a typo. Over here, this is much like the first homework. We get the message, and then while the messages are coming in, we retrieve those. So here, we take in a message, and then while messages are coming in, we're going to keep reading those messages and keep sending them. And then down here, we're going to shut down and close the process. And that'll be it. All right, so now we're going to go over to my little VM, and then I'm going to run test 2. I'm sorry you have to see my Facebook messages. It's Valentine's Day. I will be working from home, or I guess not working, but studying. Yeah, so I was just receiving a bunch of messages from my friends who are trying to make sure that I am fine on Valentine's Day, aka Single Awareness Day. So that's slightly annoying. And I have this notification for distributed that I'm going to close. Alright, so down here, it says that everything ran fine. And I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to doubly try to prove it. So this is how I log into my machine. I just sort of set it up to where I can log into it almost automatically by clicking on this Linux VM file that I made. I'm going to click connect, and I'm going to put in my password. It's one really long password. Alright, okay, cool, I'm connected. If I go to... Where'd it go? I know it's in my documents file. So if I go to, here we go, documents. I go to my 376 folder, and then go to chat. There are the tests, and here are the two files. Chat server 1, that was an earlier version of the program that I tried to get to work, and sadly it's not. But these two files work, so I'm going to drop those into chat. And I have files with the same names. I'm just going to overwrite them. I kind of want to check what's in args, because I think I might have, yes. Okay, so I accidentally put some stuff in args, so I'm just going to delete those. All right, cool. All right, so now that we're in the chat folder in my machine, I'm going to run test2 yet again. What in the world? What in the world is going on? Did I change something on accident? I think this should be fine. So I'm going to run that again because that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, never mind. So I guess it doesn't.